Hello. So in this lecture, we are going to see how to set up the Angular environment on this machine. So okay, let me start. So the idea of this session is that I want to explain something which I already have built on the machine. But then, like my idea is that I want to show if you have a new task, you are given a new task, you have to set up something, a new project. And so let's say it's a full stack project. You want to have a front end and then server and then database and everything, and you are going to start the project, right? So this is part of this whole full stack project. I'm starting with the Angular application first. So this machine has nothing, it's a blank machine. And let's say I'm given a task that okay, I have to start creating an Angular project for the front end. So that's how I'm going to start. I want to show you how you should start. Like if you are at zero, you haven't started anything yet, then how you can go check the documentation and all, and how can you start with this, right? So I'll simply go to the Angular documentation. So I'll go to the Angular.io. From here I can start to get started, and then you see a few things here you can learn from here, right? But like I'll only refer to the documentation just to set up the project. And then like I know the concepts, but whenever you need something in deep or something, you can come to the documentation and you can refer this. Okay, so you go to the get started, and then you see here things, prerequisites and all. Okay, so you need the client and install the Angular CLI. It's the Angular command line interface, and that is used to the other ways also. This is one way, and then you can also have a graphical user interface. Using that, you can create Angular components, right? Angular things. But I prefer CLI, right? And then so once the CLI has been installed, you can use the CLI to create Angular things, right? So Angular services, components, modules, whatever, right? All those things. You can. It's a easy way of creating those things quickly. So that's what Angular CLI is used for, right? And you will see that when I use and when we go further in the project. So the first thing is that you have to install the CLI, right? So I'll try to install it. So it's saying here you have to install the Angular CLI, open a terminal window and run the following command, right? So I'll go to the CMD. Let's try this. Okay. So npm install. Okay. For some reason it's not getting pasted there. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so npm is not recognized as an internal program because you need the Node.js to be installed first for this, right? So I think I was expecting this to be the first step. Let's see if it's not here. Okay, so here to install Angular on your local system, you need the following: Node.js npm package manager, right? So if you okay, to install Angular on your local machine, you need the following: a Node.js. Angular requires current active LTS or maintenance LTS version of Node.js. Okay. For more information on installing Node.js, see nodejs.org. Okay, so we'll go here and npm package manager. So Angular, the Angular CLI and the Angular applications depend on the npm packages. So like the way we are, like from if you are from the Java background, you need the Maven, right? So using the Maven, you manage the libraries dependencies. Similarly, we'll be using this npm package manager here. Okay, so to download and install npm packages, you need an npm package manager. Okay, this guy uses the npm client, like I said here, down here, this one. But to be able to use that, first we need the Node.js. This guy uses the npm client command line interface, which is installed with Node.js by default. Okay, so if we install Node.js, let's go here and download for Windows. Okay, this is LTS. Let's use this one. Okay, so the first step for the Angular project is that you will install a Node.js. Okay. So it's installing Node.js, and then we'll go back, and this is the Angular page, right? We are following this one, so we are installing Node.js, and then we'll come here, install the Angular CLI, right? Like I said here, in this step you can see that when you install Node.js, it also installs this npm package manager, and once that is installed, you can install using the you can use that npm for installing the other things, right? So we'll install, first thing is we'll install the Angular CLI. Okay, so let's see where this is. Node.js has been successfully installed. Okay, so after this, we'll try this one, which is the Angular CLI. Okay, so it is installing now the npm package manager, right? It is installing the Angular CLI, and once the Angular CLI has been installed, we'll be able to use that CLI to set up the Angular project, and later we'll be using that to create Angular components, modules, services, right? Whatever is needed for the Angular things, right? So it's a good way of quickly creating the artifacts for Angular, right? So that we'll be using. Okay, so it's all done. Okay. Okay, so ng minus minus version, it is giving you the installed version. Okay, so this is the Angular CLI version, which is 11.1.2. That's the Angular CLI version, and this is the version of Node. Okay, this is it. And Angular dev kit here, Angular dev kit core 11.1.2. So this is the Angular version information, right? So you can see it's version 11. Okay, we are all set up with the Angular client interface now, Angular CLI, right? So just to summarize what we did, we installed, first thing we installed node.js, then we installed using the, so node.js, when you install the node.js, it also installs a npm, also installs npm package manager. Okay, so using this npm package manager, later we'll be installing further packages, right? So for example, the first thing we did here was that we install the Angular CLI, right? Using npm install Angular CLI, and then we check the version also. Ng is short form for the Angular, right? So Angular or ng minus minus version that we used. So this is what we have done so far, right? And then I'll go back again to the Angular documentation and we'll see what next. So now we're gonna set up a workspace, create a workspace and initial application, right? So you develop apps in the context of an Angular workspace. To create a new workspace and initial starter app, that's what you do. Ng new my app, right? Okay, so where I want to do that, let me